Oh, yeah. The sound I make when I sit down now. Beautiful music by the handsome and talented and dreamy Petrick Match. I don't know where I was going with that. That got a bit weird. Hello everyone, I'm BoredGamer. You're you, unless you don't identify as you, in which case that's fine. You can identify as whatever you want to. That's what I've been taught this week. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's alright. I'm not going to be streaming for too long. I've got quite a bad migraine and I've got a bit peculiar. So bear that in mind while we chat. We'll go through Star Citizen E questions or questions that you have a little chat, talk about some Star Citizen stuff, but probably a couple of other things as well, like there's Article 11 and 13 if people want to talk about that a little bit. I don't want my channel to have to be political or the streams or anything, but I'm okay to discuss little bits of them. Games I'm looking forward to in the future, because I am going to start to stream some core games. Stuff like potentially Fallout 76, Anthem, Artifact. I do want a card game. Like, I really like card games. And I'm pretty good at card games. And I looked at Artifact the other day and went, yeah, I could get into that. It might be relatively popular. It's complex enough that I can hammer other people at it and do some videos on that. So as long as people don't have some sort of hatred for Artifact, might have a look at that. Yeah, so I could talk about some CitizenCon stuff, some of the updates for 3.3 that were talked about in Around the Verse, and anything that's got question brackets in, I will take a look at. Thank you for all the love. Thank you. I don't know what Updog is. Is that some sort of like rap? I don't listen to hip hop. I identify as a migraine. That is true. We're less than 30 days away. That is true. We're pretty close to CitizenCon. How many days is it? 7, 14, 21, 28, 26 days away. Well, 26 days away. That's pretty soon. And I'm very much looking forward to CitizenCon. Do you anticipate saying at CitizenCon beyond more. What do I? Oh, yeah, okay. So what do I think we're going to see at CitizenCon? Oh, I didn't ignore your email, Robert Johnston. I saw your email. You can fuck off as well. Like, thank you very much. I haven't had time to reply to it. I apologise. I probably did have enough time to reply to it. I remember seeing it only when you said you ignored my email. I apologise. I love you, even though you only pay me to tell me to fuck off. which is all of it. I mean, it's the antithesis of a booby streamer. It's a if someone wants to pay me just to insult me, what a beautiful thing. I think it was a YouTuber I've been watching, or a streamer I've been watching a little tiny bit of because DC loves him. He's a Pay Money Wubby. He was literally just a whipping boy for 4chan and memes and things. His community just really rip into him, and he loves it. Yeah, let's have a look at what is at CitizenCon and talk about what we think is going to be there as well. Boo! So CitizenCon on the 10th of October, going to be almost certainly going to be the biggest Star Citizen-y hype event of the year, and give us a huge amount of information. The only thing we'll get after this probably is the holiday live stream, sort of like in December time, where they'll potentially show us some clips of the game. Sometimes we do get some other stuff in November as well, so bear that in mind. But opening keynote with Chris Roberts, that will be some form of gameplay and new stuff that we haven't seen before, almost certainly. That'll be the main thing. That's the presentation we see every year. That's at the beginning of the event at 1 p.m. local time? At 1 p.m, do we think? I'm not really sure how these boxes work. Around that time. And that should be cool. Now, there's a lot of expectation of what might be seen there, but we don't know at all. Lots of Squadron 42 stuff has not been shown recently, so it could be part of it. Squadron 42 Episode 1 stuff. That would be great. I'm really looking forward to Squadron 42. All of its updates and all of its goodness will be going into the Star Citizen's Persistent Universe anyway. But other stuff we could see, new biomes, new planets, alien stuff, new ships, new technology. There's absolutely tons of stuff that they could show. All the stuff that's going into 3.4 and beyond. They might show some gameplay of 3.3, but I'd hope that they don't go overboard with 3.3 stuff, because we'll probably be having the Evocati test any day now, starting from this weekend, potentially. Might not be this week, it might be next week, might be the week after. Yeah, we'll have that, and there'll be leaks on the Reddit, almost certainly. And then we'll probably get a wider PTU before that. So there would have been a lot of 3.3 spoilers, is what I'm saying, before 3.3 goes live at CitizenCon on the 10th of October. So showing that off wouldn't be that great, because it's going to be in your hands anyway. So I'm hoping it's going to be new stuff. I mean, I'd love to see jump points. I'd love to see how they're going to tackle future planets. I mean, if they've got bits of Terra and stuff like that to show, if they've got ship boarding, capital ships, if they've got those capital ships working in a much better state, stuff like that, that would be great. Those kind of cool gameplay loops, they might have visualized. And if they've got land, because land claim stuff was planned for this year and seems to have been moved out. If they want to show off land claim stuff, building outposts, that would all be super cool. There's lots of stuff they could show, but what I'd like the most, I suppose, would be alien creatures, aliens. So seeing the actual Vandals, seeing the Banu, seeing that sort of stuff, and literally animals and stuff running around, but not a one-off sandworm. Proper, these are the sort of animals we're going to have in the verse. That would be absolutely cool. Some other stuff we know they're going to show. We know they're showing biomes. So creating alien ecosystems, which is one of the reasons I think that the keynote might have alien ecosystems in it. There's some other cool stuff. We know there's going to be a concept sale of some kind. We're assuming it's the Drake Kraken civilian. I am assuming it's the Drake Kraken civilian carrier, which would be a ship that carries small and medium-sized ships, a load of them. It hasn't got much of an armament itself, and beyond that we don't really know, but it could be like a mobile space station with repair, refuel, rearm pads, and things like that on it, and shops and stuff. And if it is, I will probably buy one, even if it's quite expensive, because I like to throw my money at things I love, and I can justify it because my entire sort of like business model is around Star Citizen. I cover the game. I want cool things. I'll show bits of the ship when it comes out immediately, and people will be watching that video, and I'll make the money back. That's the idea. That's how I justify it to myself. Road to release at the end of CitizenCon's another big thing. Like, I'm hoping road to release means, some roadmap that gives us some dates for Squadron 42's release, or maybe adds Squadron 42 to the roadmap, or maybe gives us some hard deadlines for a beta for Star Citizen, or at least soft deadlines or plans. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Harbinger, thank you very much.
Bored, love your face. That is all.
Harbinger, that's all you need. I love you. I love my face. I love your money. So thank you. I appreciate it a lot, genuinely. Exploring the advanced tech behind the new game editions. That's an interesting one. Is that implying that they're going to show off something new at CitizenCon, a new gameplay mechanics? So, when it comes to core mechanics, I hope they get everything sorted for the most part this year. So, they are reworking the flight model. They are putting in object container streaming, which is the last of the super major core tech, other than server-side object container streaming and server meshing. So that's the last two things that are core, that are major, that are coming along. But it's all sort of based on object container streaming client side to get the rest of that. And there'd be other options if server meshing doesn't work. And server meshing is literally the spinning up and down of servers based on the population requirements and the amount of load on that server for areas. So you could have a street and a bar run by a single server, and a load of people turn up outside, and then it spins up another server for outside, and just and the original server just looks at the inside of that building. So something like that is probably how it's going to work. And with that, you get all these servers stitched together, and that allows everyone to be in the same mega server, sort of. There's lots of maybes, ifs, and buts at the moment, so we'll need to wait to see exactly how it's going to be implemented. But that's the rough idea of it. So some other cool stuff that they're showing. A bunch of characters. So it says tech bringing players and NPCs to life. I'm hoping that could be alien stuff as well. But just in general, FPS AI, that's super important for the game. AI being able to crew ships, being able to repel borders, being part of missions on the ground. That's a huge amount of cool stuff. And that's being going into 3.3 FPS AI. So that's going to make missions a lot more interesting, and that's going to make the game much more playable for longer periods of time. Much more interesting things to do. The mod squad, creating modular in-game elements. Cool, yeah. Gonna see how they reuse stuff, I'm assuming. By design by Tony Zorovic, that's going to be something not to miss. Art of Hurston, well, we're going to see that sort of like anyway. It'll be like a mixture of concepts and how it's all developed up to 3.3 and beyond. Making cool little things that are going to be in-game, like trophies and knives and weapons and things. Cool. Visuals of the verse, that's going to be sort of like probably the gas tech and various props and things, and how they build areas out, and how the future of the verse is going to look much more pretty, things like that. Anything else that's really super cool? No, nothing really. Principles of flight. So those new flight mechanics. So they're reworking the flight model. Flight model is okay. So John Pritchett made the original, designed the original flight model, but wasn't in charge of its implementation. So there's a bit of a disconnect. John Pritchett's flight model, which we're still using, all the physics and everything behind that, are quite complex, but very cool, very good. The flight model does a lot of cool stuff. However, its implementation into the game is, the model might be too complex to have it used effectively in game, and too resource heavy as well on servers and clients. So they are reworking that flight model. Hopefully the last major rework of a system like this, like of a core system, and hopefully that's going to be fully implemented by the end of the year. So They want ships to have like a turning circle, and you have to think about how you engage and how you fight, and dogfighting not to be constantly super responsive, agile ships that just go strafing around, unless you're in a Xi'an ship, in which case they are built to strafe around, but larger ships should have larger turning circles, things like that. So I'm definitely up for that. I'm definitely up for a better flight model. The PvP in the game, PvE at the moment, flight model's not great, combat's not great, and it needs to be perfect. Well, it needs to be near perfect anyway. This game is, at its core, is a space sim, and a lot of that's going to be combat, whether you want combat or not. It's going to at least affect your gameplay in some way, even if it's just economic based. If you're living on a planet and you need, supplies every so often, that person might be engaged in a fight, or the prices of those supplies are going to be based on combat in some way, or missions generated for them. So, but yeah, CitizenCon should be pretty fucking cool. I am actually on holiday at Centre Parks, but I will, when I'm at Centre Parks from the 8th of October to the 12th of October, I'll be streaming throughout the days, and we might be playing like board games and PC games and lots of other stuff, and just chatting, and I will still get videos out for CitizenCon, so we'll get like a summary of the opening keynotes, might get a summary of the road to release, we'll get patch notes for 3.3 out, we'll get a ship buyer's guide or summary of the concept, whatever it is, that sort of stuff. And then after that, once I'm back, we'll get a load more videos out as well. But thank you very much for all the support that I've been receiving recently. Like, there are lulls in Star Citizen while we're waiting for stuff, and like we know that we're going to get some new cool patch and ships and gameplay mechanics every 3 months now. But like every 6 to 8 weeks, there's a lull in Star Citizen, and they slow down on content occasionally because they're working on the game. They're working at getting bits of the game done, so there's less to show. But they want to hold some stuff back to show and stuff like that. So I appreciate people's support and continued comments and suggestions and stuff. And yeah, I've been updating some stuff. Like the website's going to be updated almost daily now. With Star Citizen articles, not just Star Citizen articles, but mostly Star Citizen articles. It'll be gaming and other things that are sort of tangentially related a bit. I talked about articles 11 and 13 recently, which is the copyright directive, which potentially threatens, and almost certainly will, threatens like sort of free speech and uploading content, even under fair usage. So it threatens to hamper a lot of stuff with the internet. And the way it's going to be implemented is sort of like up in the air as well. So I've done some videos on that, talked about that. Might have some hardware stuff, might have some reviews, things like that. I'm very much taking control of ads on my channel as well. So any ads that run on any mediums that I produce on, I will try and minimize the automatic ads from like YouTube and Twitch, like removing anything that's like a non-skippable ads and stuff like that. I'll try and get rid of them where possible. I don't think there's any unskippable ads on my channel for YouTube, for example, now. But I occasionally will have, this video is brought to you by, I don't know, this red case for my phone or whatever, and talk about that for like 20 seconds at the end of a video. Because I think that's much more appropriate to choose which ads and things that I want to talk about, or at least choose what I cover. I mean, sometimes it's going to be something like a game which is very loosely related to space sims or something, and I'll be like, and people might be like, oh, it's quite cool, or it's quite shit or whatever. But, it's a sponsor. It's a sponsor that I can actually have some choice in. It's not going to be Dollar Shave Club or some bullshit like that. But yeah. What else? Some cool. There's articles. Obviously, I've got the SoundCloud as well, which is just all of the videos I create, pretty much boiled down into audio. I've made them small as well now, so they are small when it comes to megabytes. But yeah, what do we got? Oh fuck! I didn't realise there's so much going on in chat. Oh, I love you, Aspire. Mwah. Where's that? Thanks for keeping it real, Bored. I appreciate your genuineness. You're the voice of reason for the Star Citizen community. Am I? I suppose. Well, okay. Well, the thing I appreciate that. Like, I do appreciate that. I just, you know, I think everyone should be try to be reasonable. I love Star Citizen. I think it's cool. I love the community. I love what I do for a living, which is producing content primarily Star Citizen based, because that's the niche of my channel now. The secondary channel might do some artifact stuff and things like that as well. However, I'm thinking that when I do other gaming content, it'll mainly be streamed. It'll be like a artifact I'll play on stream regularly, like once a day or something, for a couple of hours, and talk about artifact stuff. And then on the secondary channel, I could have VODs of that stream. Boom. Perfect. And then keep the videos I do 99% do with Star Citizen, because I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great game. I really love following the project. I don't need to defend CIG. No one else needs to defend CIG. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do some good stuff as well, and we can talk about it civilly when they do either. And you know, it's a cool game that I'm enjoying making content for, and I'm probably going to be in it for the next like 10 years doing that. And then hopefully I'll be like swimming in that YouTube money and that donation money. I'll be like, oh bitches. That's how I talk. At CitizenCon, they're supposed to show off some alien biomes. Do you think they might show off a new Xi'an or Tavaran ship with the Kraken? We don't have many of them. I think potentially if they're showing off some Squadron 42 stuff, we could see some more Vandal ships. I'd like to see some Xi'an or Tavaran stuff, to be honest. Like, I want to see the rest of the alien races that aren't the Vandal get fleshed out a bit more. And we know there sort of will be. Like, we've got the Bounty Defender, that's going to define the Bounty Merchantman, for style. And then once they've got that, they've got the a huge banner ship and a small banner ship. They can do banner ships anywhere in between. Any bounty hunter ships out there bigger than the blue? Want to live out my Cowboy Bebop life. Might be stuck with the Crucible as a mini hangar plus Hawk. So, potentially there are going to be ships that allow you to do bounty hunter stuff beyond the Cutlass Blue in size. So, for example, there are brigs on the Idris and Javelin, I believe, as well. So, assuming that you can just chuck anyone in a cell, great, boom, chuck them in a cell. You can chuck them in the brig there, and then get your bounties from that. We just don't 100% know. Well, we don't to any really real state know how they're going to implement bounty hunting as a mechanic. Hopefully in a very, very similar way. When do you think we'll be able to carry weapons/items in city clothes? So they are working on physicalized inventories. Bear with me. Is that in 3.6 physicalized inventories? Physical inventories 3.6. So that is June of 2019. Implementing a localized physical inventory. It'll be almost certainly after that. So you want physical inventories. You also have attachment points on your gear for weapons, pistols, and you might be able to have attachment points under clothing as well, which are slightly more hidden. We don't know exactly how that's going to work, but yeah, physical inventories 3.6. They'll need that first, almost certainly. They're going to try and incentivize us to not wear armor and not wear spacesuits all the time. So that's both on ship and when you're on the ground. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do it. Potential ways are it could increase the amount of wear you have on an item just by wearing it. So literally it degrades, which will cost you money. So people will be like, oh, I better use my civvies. My civvies don't degrade. Something like that. Do you see what I mean? So if armor degrades when you're wearing it, you're not going to wear it. You're going to try not to wear it at all. And the same with
Tricksy little
spacesuits and helmets and stuff. They could do
Am
something
I
like
still
that.
anonymous?
You are still anonymous. Wow, who are you? Oh, it's motherfucker. Oh no. You're anonymous. And yet, I said your name. It's got a beautiful name. It's not spelt how you think, so it's not offensive. Why haven't I won any of your ship giveaways? Scrambles, I mean, now if you win one, people are going to say it's weird. I don't know. Keep on trying. There's quite a... I mean, I'm not blowing my own internet trumpet. But I'm kind of... A few people watch me. Oh! You are a Stegosaurus, Giron. Good job. You can be whatever you want to be. Do you think CitizenCon ship, presumably the Kraken, might turn out to be a different manufacturer, perhaps Alien? So the event is sponsored in lore by Drake, and it says Drake have a new thing up their sleeves. Let's try and find it actually. Drake has a chip on its shoulder and perhaps a game-changing ace up its sleeve. So it could be a new gameplay mechanic, or it could be the civilian carrier, which could also double up as basically a mobile space station. Je vous aime tout? Is that I love all of you? Is that the same, or was I just told your grandmother to fuck off? I apologise if I have. I'll be displeased if I don't get rid of magic space friction. They've been working on space friction recently, actually, for 3.3. So they were messing around with it because of asteroid mining. So hopefully, magic space friction will go, or be a thing maybe just in clouds and gas areas, and when you're near objects of gravity, or objects as they're called. Anything with a mass, I suppose. With the new flight model, hopefully turrets will get the right fix and big ships will be competitive with a swarm of fighters. So I think with turrets on ships, the way I would do it is I would have turrets almost perfectly responsive. Just have them turn really quickly, have them really good at aiming, have them really stable, potentially have them... The stability is the main thing. So maybe their fire arc is more manageable, something like that. Because otherwise you're having to compete with the ship moving at the same time. And you need turrets to be a better option, or at least a good option, compared to that person that's in that turret flying with you in a ship. You see what I mean? Because otherwise everyone will just go, why do we need these big ships? Let's just all fly in single ships. Or let's fly this big ship with one crew in it and fly ships with it. What is your take on the lack of information provided by CIG on different kinds of scanners, their purpose, effectiveness, and versatility? When do you think will address? So, they want to get short-range scanning, so scanning within 50 kilometers done first. That is what they're currently working on. So that's going to be passive detection, that's going to be scanner pings, all that sort of stuff that we know about. They're going to develop that. Once they develop that, they're going to do long-range scanning. So it's going to be scanning for exploration, scanning for things that are further than 50 kilometers away, sometimes really far away. And then scanning will develop from there. And then you'll start to see other types of scanners and mission gameplay scanner stuff and all that sort of stuff evolve. I think one of the things is that they have a rough sort of like design of what they sort of want to do, but they have no idea exactly how it's going to work yet until they start working on it in earnest after the shorter range scanner stuff's done. And then that's going to build into command and control and stuff like that as well, which will be you commanding ships and setting plans while on a capital ship or in a command room. Do you think the lack of Squadron 42 on the schedule means that Squadron 42 will have a major announcement? I hope so. We've been waiting for Squadron 42 episode 1 for ages. And they have actually stopped showing us off updates for Squadron 42. I think the last thing we saw was a Vandal running around with a Jafar Kree staff, one of its plasma staffs. So, you know, they got to win. They got to show us something, Squadron 42. They got to give us a bone here. Sounds naughty. No, so Brits don't get free speech. That is true. We have, I think, freedom of expression, sort of, which can be curtailed and prevented. I do think that free speech, because I'm not a free speech absolutist, but I'm reasonably close. I think free speech is incredibly important to individual rights. Yeah, but I don't want to go overly overboard talking about that sort of stuff. Because I'll fight where I can, when I can, and I will tweet about causes that I think are important to me, but people make their own decisions. And just because it's right for me and because I think it's correct does not necessarily mean that you do, and does not mean that I'm right and you are wrong. I'm very freedoms for people. But anyway, what happened to badges and patches display for the hangar? Is that flare not there anymore? That will be back at some point. Better scrub your memes. I'm not a big memer. We'll draw them. We'll draw all the memes. We'll do them live. I'm so confused.
Dodging bullets. Like, fucking
beautiful.
Thank you very much, Rider the Blue, for freedom. Freedom. I can't get away from people being sponsored by that red case. Sell out. What red case, G? What red case? Oh, you mean this red case? I see. I'm so far behind in chat. I apologise. I'm literally the worst. Let's get. I might actually be looking forward to new biomes, even more than new ships. Yeah, probably. I mean, new ships are cool, but new ships are always going to come out. I want gameplay area, gameplay loops, and, stuff to actually do in game. What am I looking forward to the most in 3.3? Oh. 3.3 is actually pretty strong with stuff I want to do. Because it's got FPS AI, that means I want to be playing it and doing missions regularly, and messing around and seeing the stuff you can do. But it's also going to have face over IP and voice over IP, which means interaction to the max. And hopefully I don't have to keep on bleeping out the N-word or anything like that. I am talking, of course, of the word Nancy. Will we be able to drive around Lawville, considering we can't fly around it? Well, we're sort of able to fly around it, but not too close. And then when we're flying into it, we have to fly in a particular area. So they are working on transit systems. So there'll be trains, trams, and that sort of stuff in the shorter term, so that we'll be able to use those. I'm not sure if they're going to be in 3.3. Great if they are. And I think some planets and some areas, and potentially Hearthstone in the future, will have civilian driving areas, slightly more freeform. What steps do you think remain before we can...
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, Love21. I love you. Keep it up, boards. Okay, I try. What steps do you think remain before we can hire NPC crews, buy character slots to be used as NPCs, if that's the thing? Not sure if game packages will count as NPC slots. I don't think they will, but they might. They'll address that in the future again. But assume that NPC crews are hireable at some point. Individual NPCs, skeleton crews, full crews if you've got a capital ship, that sort of stuff. You might be able to hire them for single missions. You might be able to hire them for lengths of time. You might only be able to hire them to do specific roles. We don't actually know. They need FPS AI in first. Then they need expanded subsumption. They probably need some of the Squadron 42 stuff. So, I mean, we could see horrible NPC crews as early as the end of next year. That would be my expectation for the earliest possible time. But it does require a load of tech and then NPC crews working multiplayer with players, because originally an AI would control all stations. Now individual NPCs control each of those stations, but getting them working with a player in multiplayer that's also controlling those and then taking orders, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. Is every player going to be human, or can they be aliens? In the short term, Urbrus, or Urbus, Kingsley, I don't know what to call you. Mr. Kingsley, let's call you that. In the short term, everyone's human. That's a player. There are going to be aliens around that are NPCs. That's going to be the Banu, the Vandu, the Xi'an, potentially Kurthak, the Tavaran. And in the future, we might be able to be aliens. They want to put aliens in the game as playable races, but that will probably be a long distance future. Please tell us all you know about Titan armor. Titan armor is super heavy armor that gives you, I believe at the moment, like a foot or two extra off the ground. And it's going to be a big suit of armor. They tested them with 2 size 1 weapons previously, but they were too long for corridors and they couldn't turn at all. That I don't know exactly what's happening with them at the moment. I think they've tested them with a single size 1 weapon or multiple like shoulder mounts. But I don't know exactly how that's going to be implemented. Titan armor and those Titan suits are something that I'm looking forward to the most in game. That sort of like missing link between being on the ground to being in the air to being in a vehicle sort of thing. Something that allows you to compete with spaceships potentially or ground vehicles while in that armor, while being maybe not super mobile but relatively mobile. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's gonna be cool. That is what a trumpet sounded like. Let me do the trumpet noise again. Some people might not know what a trumpet sounds like. Also, I like to see like the YouTube captions of trumpet noise, or something like that. Maybe it doesn't say trumpet noise. Maybe it says like sound of elk. Rescue comrades who've been captured by bounty hunters. Will you be able to break your friends out before they go to trial? Don't know. Depends on how complex those mechanics are going to be. I suspect there will be standalone missions that are similar to that. There'll be, oh, we need you to go and get these guys, NPCs. But maybe the mission system will be so robust and intelligent that it will go, oh, I've got a mission, and the God AI generates it, for you to pick up this player that's just been captured up. It could generate a load of missions for that. It would be great if it does that. The issue is they need to balance realistic gameplay, emergent gameplay, things that players will do, resources, loads of stuff simultaneously. It's a monumental task, but I mean they are starting to deliver and they are starting to get there now. Be interesting to see. Almost read out what my fucking thrift bot was saying, which is currently still called Moobot because I can't be bothered to change its name because it costs me like $10 a month or something to have it called ThriftBot. Why does that look like Updog? I don't know what that is, Mr. Kingsley. Fuck you. Maybe you're memeing on me. I don't know. Oh, I see. You want me to say what's up, dog? That's what you want me to say. My brain went, what's he? This is up, dog. Fuck you, Mr. Kingsley. So it's in the past as well. Maybe he's already answered it. BG, your Star Citizen gaming seems stable with high frames per second. How often do you get a crash to desktop? Very rarely. Single digits within the last 2 months. 3.2.2. Very stable for me. What hopes do you have for the new flight model? That it's simple, or simpler. So when I say simpler, what I don't mean is derpy. I want it to be less resource intensive, so that obviously more scalable, high frame rates, that sort of stuff, and less jitter, less glitchiness. It needs to be competitive, so people need to be able to do 1v1s in Arena Commander. It needs to work for that. It needs to be affected in Atmosphere a lot better, be more burdensome, and ships. I want them ships responsive, but I don't want them super agile. So I do want turning circles. I do want ships to have some form of maneuvering and movement in them that's sort of characterful to their ship. But I can't really explain that without having it. So that's what I'm hoping for. I just want a flight mechanic that people like and that works and that has a high skill ceiling, but allows even noob players to be reasonable at it. Any idea when multiplayer missions will be a thing? They've been working on it for a while. You could see some improvements to that in 3.3, but 3.4, I believe, is when they were sort of like thinking that it might be shareable missions and shareable contract beacons, and maybe even be able to transfer money somehow to each other. Has CIG previously revealed multiple ships at a time? They might have, actually. Yeah, we could see, like, the Kraken and the Corsair at the same time. We could see the Kraken and Titan Armor at the same time. I mean, they do when they show variants, I suppose. Like, they'll have a series of ships. Will there be a place in Hurston to clear crime stats? I don't think so on Hurston. It'll be Security Post Korea or whatever. It'll be somewhere else. But it'll be in the Stanton system in the short term, yeah. How much money do I have to pay for you to like the Reliant? Could you ever consider the Tanner or Sen as a sexy option? Danny boy, if you give me $100 now on stream, I will pretend I like the Reliant on a semi-permanent basis. How's that? You don't know if I'm serious or not either. Fucking hate that shit. Fucking hell. Like, okay, it looks kind of pretty. It's like a B-wing from Star Wars, and I get it, but it flies like a fuck, and it's just horrible. And then you think of it like, actually, this doesn't make any sense for any form of dogfighting. There's a combat variant of it that's going to get absolutely wrecked. It's just a big sail getting shot at. I don't like it. Still no lifetime insurance on Saber Raven. Don't know how I feel about that. Okay, so just change your headset to lifetime insurance isn't that important, and assume that all ships have some sort of like light lifetime insurance where you can just pay a reasonable amount of money to get them back rather than the full amount, even if you don't have any insurance. And assume that. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be insuring ships, especially combat ships, aren't you? Like, and lifetime insurance may only cover a very small percentage of the whole cost. It might just be for a permanent basis, but it might only cover, like, I know, 20% of the whole cost. Whereas you'd still want to insure it for more. You see what I mean? Hey, Bod, what do you do for a living? Are you in some kind affiliated with CIG? No, I'm not affiliated with CIG. I'm an independent content creator. I actually am full-time creating content on Star Citizen and streaming and stuff. I should probably do a bit more, and I am expanding soon. I'm probably hiring one of my friends in, and then I'll be streaming very regularly. And I'll be looking at potentially some other games for streaming purposes and getting into that. But I'm hoping that Star Citizen ramps up a bit more in the future. I used to, up until very recently, be the carer for my brother, and sort of like YouTube fitted in really well with that. But no, I'm in no way affiliated with the CIG, and by that, what I mean is I don't get paid by them, I don't get told to do anything by them, I don't get free stuff from them, other than I have received a teacup and saucer from them once when I went to an office tour. And I will always try to remain relatively neutral on stuff, and I say relatively neutral because I'm a Star Citizen fan, and I like Star Citizen, and I'm pretty reasonable, so when stupid shit happens, I'm not like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, we need to hold them accountable. I'm like, well, let's make sure they don't do this shit again, and let's hold them accountable for this particular thing. Oh, they fixed it. Good. That sort of stuff, you know, be reasonable. You don't have to be reasonable, you can do what you want. You're a big boy, I'm sure. Or girl, or thin boy, I don't know. What role do you see the Saber Raven filling? It's going to be stealth, so it's going to be espionage, stealth, hit and run, first strike, alpha strike ship. It's going to have lots of uses like that. I suspect it's going to be pretty useful for having on board potentially like ships like the Idris and things like that, to briefly stun enemies and things like that as you get away. Do you think that? I suspect it will be very good for reconnaissance and tracking things, scouting, that sort of stuff as well. Do you think that the Hammerhead was fast-tracked to be in game as a replacement to the Idris, as they want to hold it back for Squadron 42? No, I just think that there was a big hole in the game for the Hammerhead. A gun turret, patrol ship, medium-sized patrol ship. They're going to need a load of these sort of ships that are high damage, but not capital ships in the game, that are more commonplace. And I think a lot of people just really wanted a proper gunship, eh? Squadron 42 will be out in 2015. Yep. We talked about CitizenCon already. Might talk about it a bit more again. I love to play as a xenomorph type creature, hunting people down in big ships. I mean, that is cool. Alien vs Predator 2 was a cool game. Wish you could do that in. What are the chances I'll be able to sync my fans into someone in game? Unlikely. Eventually there will be mods in private servers, is the plan. So if someone does a mod for something like that, boom. Where did my Christmas tree go? I don't know. Welcome to 20 minutes ago. You're right, G. 14 minutes ago now. It's still seeing the up dogs. Oh, shit. When do you think the first BoredGamer org event will be? Looking forward to it. Oh, Jock Crop. I don't know. So I'm actually going to start doing some BoredGamer community events. So I think next week we'll do either Quake Champions or Unreal Tournament, something that's a free-to-play deathmatchy game. We'll do some chatting on that and do it on the Discord. I'll start talking about that on the Discord later today. I'll get help DC to help me arrange it when he gets back from Alton Towers. Him and Zilla there having fun. Lots of us wanted to sort of like, we're almost waiting to go, but a load of us suffer from anxiety and stuff. And we're like, oh, I used to enjoy roller coasters, but now I'm just too anxious since those people lost their legs. So a lot of my life is now just, all I enjoy is eating. Pretty much it. Oh, I had my my ultrasound scan. So they scanned me and they said, "There's fine. You've got no stones. You look relatively healthy." They talked about my cholesterol and stuff. And we're like, "Your cholesterol's fine. However, you're obviously a bit overweight, so you could lose some weight. That'd be good. And you've got a fatty liver." Because he was ultrasounding me and he checked my liver and it went, "Your liver is a bit fatty. If you lose half a stone to a stone sort of thing, that will be sensible for your health." Okay, cool. So I'll go to my doctor as well, just to go over those results again. That was scanned at the hospital. But I'm feeling great now. I've started to lose weight anyway. I go for a half an hour run, it's not a run, it's a jog, and do loads of push-ups and sit-ups every day now. So I'm burning like 500 calories additionally a day, just to get a bit healthier because I'm so sedentary in my job. I sit down for like 12 hours a day. Like, it's insane. I know I have to learn and how new Lagway would be done. I know we have info to learn and how the new language, he means, would be done. But do you know if we'll have something like production in game or a way to partly understand it? Yeah, there will be ways to understand alien languages in game. But if you actually understand the language yourself, you'll probably get more nuance and more understanding out of it than like an auto-translator. Do you see what I mean? And that's the sort of stuff they've talked about before. Will FOIP be good? Don't know. It will be eventually, probably. Don't know if it's going to be great in 3.3. Any webcam should be able to use it. Faceware are also making their own version of a cam for the best possible experience. And they said it's very small when it comes to resource and packets. And they've got like loads of culling techniques and that sort of stuff. And it's very small amount of data to make sense. So it shouldn't slow anything down. Yes, I quickly fall behind on everything. I apologise. Thank you, G, though, for answering that. How long do you think it will take for the streams to reach YouTube? I'll take leave that day. If it's less than 6 hours, I'd be half asleep watching it live. Robert Johnson. So there'll be other content creators restreaming it almost certainly instantly. So you'll probably have access to that stream as it's done from another source. I will try and get up a gameplay cut if there's anything that's reasonable and I feel like I can clean it up better almost immediately afterwards as well. And for them, their priority is going to be to get the keynote presentation, the keynote speech, that part of it up as quickly as possible from CIG's point of view. So that could go up within a few, like an hour or two. But the rest of it, the rest of the day's bits, that might be a bit longer. BoredGamer, how do you feel about different assets having the same name? Titan ship versus Titan armor. It was not a great idea, was it? Gemini ship versus Gemini rifle. It's a bit annoying. I mean, it happens in real life as well, though. As long as it's some sort of more differentiated name, it's fine. It's a little annoying, though, admittedly. Did a minigame will be ready in 3.3? If my calculations are correct, Quantum for Hurston are about 20 to 30 min. It could be boring. So yeah, I think it was 8 minutes is sort of like the time they were going for between Hurston and Crusader. And there's things to do on the way and truck stops to get refueled and stuff on. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. Will we be able to remotely open our ship if we would like to park a smaller ship in it? Yes, you'll be able to have the controls of opening doors and that sort of stuff from an MFD. I think you'll be able to control oxygen, depressurization, opening doors, gravity, that sort of stuff from security MFDs. So that's multifunction display. That's the screens in front of you, which you can turn left and right. Wasn't it Titan armor that was under the sheet in the Squadron 42 political slice next to the F8? I don't know. We've seen the very early concepts of Titan armor drawn previously, which is sort of like it had elongated legs. Someone stood in it. It was sort of like almost like a power loader. YouTube is about 6 seconds behind Twitch. Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Are CIG open to ideas about alien adversaries? I have this idea about Bratfast, Infiltration Army, and their leader, Mecha Sinawawa. Could be a thing in game, perhaps a DLC. Well, they do love their DLC, so why not? Anything if they can charge for it or put it in a loot box. What is the largest ship you think will be available to land in a Carrack? That will be available to land in a Carrack? Snub. So, P-72. The Pisces will probably be bigger, so 85X and Pisces. If you are capture, how long you stay in your avatar before you start over? I imagine being a slave or convicted felon won't be fun. Oh, I see. So we don't know. So when it comes to less than lethal weapons, when it comes to being knocked out, when it comes to being bounty hunted, and that sort of stuff and captured, we don't know how that gameplay is going to work yet. Yes, you're right. No one wants to be trapped in very few people want to be trapped in a cell and do slave roleplay. But if there is ways to escape, if there is missions generated, if there's something to do, maybe they could go down that route. It could be that you immediately wake up as if you're alive. One of your lives has been used. Even if you're taken down in a less than lethal manner, that could count as you being dead, effectively. Do you think there will be a capital ship flyable by next update? No. Not in-game for us to use. Heard some rumours they will get a capital ship flyable and a concept sale of something big. Okay. Cool. I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't think they're going to have capital ships flyable in-game for a while. Not until next year. I'd love to be wrong. We know they work, they're unlikely to work properly multiplayer. You need 2 of them to be able to fight each other with fighter escorts without 1 frame per second. What originally drew you towards Star Citizen? Were you an original backer? No, I wasn't an original backer. I got interested in Star Citizen at the end of 2013. One of my mates, Wes, bought an Idris, and I was like, "What the fuck, you an idiot? $1,000!" And then I was like, "Well, actually, Wes is a pretty reasonable dude." And he showed me the joy of Star Citizen, and I got into it. And then I started doing some content on it, and realized no one else is really doing content on it. So I identified a niche on my YouTubes and went for it. And then I realized I was one of the most knowledgeable people about the game. So I just want to keep on being relatively knowledgeable. I love the project. I fucking love it. And I'm a big gamer. I'm not talking about just fat. I mean, I enjoy my games. What does the CIG teacup and saucer look like? Oh god, look, you have to be left with my old chair, my new chair. Right, that's a Herman Miller Aeron remastered. I'll be right back.
I'm dodging bullets like fucking
beautiful.
Neo.
Oh. Ah. Hello. Sorry. Ah. So this is the cup. It's a glazed white and black Aegis Dynamics cup they gave me from Steelite. And a saucer. See? And that's why I'm Star Citizen Shield. It's for the cups. If at some point I want to get all of my crockery and cutlery and stuff Star Citizenified, I'd love to have a full set of those cups. I just love when people come around. I want them to be drinking out of that stuff. Oh my god, that'd be fucking cool. I'm a massive nerd. Also, I haven't got my review up on this yet because I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry, Verpal. So the stick is great. It's a really great. Talk about this really quickly. This is the new Constellation Delta. It's got the Warbird base, but it's the Constellation Delta grip. And this is sort of like made for space sims. There's the only way I can describe it. It's got twist axis. It's got loads and loads of functionality and a proper thumbstick from like an Xbox controller. And it feels great. The build quality of the actual grip here is not as good as like the Warthog. But it's pretty fucking close. The Warthog's metal, but this is much better for me. This is lighter. This is what I wanted. If you change the cams in here, you can get a little bit of a better experience as well because there's a little bit of, it's a little bit stiff for me. But you can change that. Actually, have that better. However, and that's good. That's probably the stick I would use. If I had a choice of all the sticks in the world and money's not an object, that is the stick I would use. However, this throttle is fucking amazing. It has exactly enough buttons and dials on it for me that can do anything I want them to do. I got halfway through setting it up in Star Citizen and I was like, oh my god. But it's got so much functionality when it comes to like splitting the throttle for... I was messing around with the Prospector was the idea. And you can split the throttle for like having power throttle for your mining laser, throttle for the Axis ship. It's got so much functionality. It's just awesome. This throttle is awesome. So dual stick and throttle with that because the grips are. It's also got a mouse wheel on it as well. Because the grip is ambidextrous, dual stick and throttle. Oh, superb. If you've got the space for it and the money, it's expensive. Where the hell's the Carrack? No. So as soon as there's info on the Carrack, Jared Disco Lando will tell us. It's going to be worked on relatively soon, or started in production relatively soon. But that was the teacup and saucer. Expanded ship modularity and modular ship rooms and things. I think that's going to be a big thing for next year. So we're going to start to see like caterpillars, ship modularity rooms and stuff like that. That's obviously a huge pillar of Star Citizen customization, ship modularity. They haven't forgotten it. They're just working on getting core components of that game out. What's the big release surprise this CitizenCon? We don't know yet. We don't know. If you do Quake Champions or Unreal, you'll be there for sure. Cool. Anyone that wants to participate in the BoredGamer, we're doing them weekly or fortnightly. We'll do some silly deathmatchy stuff and things, if possible, that are with free games like Quake Champions and Unreal. You can just download for free. We'll probably do some Rust stuff soon and some 7 Days to Die, things like that, as well if people want to get involved. Just make sure you join the Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. And I'll make a channel for it, or just talk in general. Hey, Bored, what will be the future for co-pilots and and pilot seats. You will have a selection of MFDs, multifunction displays, which you will be able to access from them. Co-pilot seats might not have the actual function of being able to fly, but they will give you the ability to do whatever those multifunction displays allow you to do. So change power, shields, do the security for the ship, that sort of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of things. All the functions as a ship, potentially. Are you going to cover Ashes of Creation alpha process once the NDA is lifted? Yes. Me and Cameron, and so a load of my other friends, back to Ashes of Creation with $100, I think, so that we got all access. It looks kind of cool. Might be great, might be shit. Looks pretty cool. A load of people went to see them on my behest at Gamescom as well, and they chatted to them for a while and seemed impressed. Thank you very much, Jake. Appreciate it. I love the love. Yeah, just a it should work with most webcams, the face over IP stuff. I think you need at least 720/30, at least, and then the higher the frame rate and the higher the res, the better. I hope the CitizenCon next year will be held in the UK. Yes, I'm drinking an iced coffee. Oh, this caffeine is actually really fucking good for me at the moment. Helps me lose weight. Helps me lose weight on my liver as well. As long as I don't take too much of it. I don't take too much sugar with it. I hope it will be in the UK. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and, even that's going to be probably harder from next year onwards, go to all major European events that are Star Citizen based, and actively bring recording equipment and get interviews with people, interviews with the devs and stuff like that. My channel needs to start doing stuff like that. I know that I'm going to be like me and Noobify will be like the big sources for info, and we're not competing for people's eyes, which is great, seeing that we work together so much and chat so much about stuff. But I'd like to do more. We'd like to push into bits of the game, and I know I get like an interview from Erin once or twice a year, but I need to start doing more than that. I need to start pushing certain questions. Is 3.3 the God patch? What is your expectations for performance gains? I don't know what God patch means, but no patch is going to be the Jesus or God patch or whatever. It's important core functionality. It will reduce RAM cost through PCs, making it a lot more scalable. It should give us some good performance gains. Their Q&A have had amazing performance gains, but they've probably only been testing with headless clients and a single actual real connection. So when you're on a server with 50 people, yeah, we're probably going to have some pretty fucking good gains. Good gains is like, if we have 40 to 50 frames consistently at lowest, that's pretty fucking good for Star Citizen at the moment. Do you think the Genesis will grow in size? Yes. Genesis was concepted before they had their current pipeline. And the current pipeline, they build the interior very roughly of the ship for the concept, I believe. So they actually get the sort of right size. And previous to that, they didn't know, even when they blocked out the interiors, they didn't know the amount of extra room they needed between each room and between the sides of the ship and the external hull and stuff like that. But now they do. The Mercury Q&A said the Hercules would be developed before the larger Genesis, but the stats page showed the Genesis to be smaller. The Genesis might get bigger, but the Mercury is almost certainly going to be first because it's smaller. Once they get that, then they'll do the Hercules, and it's maybe its variants, or maybe just the Hercules, and then they'll start building up the Genesis. Will Star Citizen be persistent, like crashes on planets staying or things? Oh, so okay. There is going to be persistence when it comes to things that happen in the universe. So if you build outposts, yeah. If you land your ship, yeah, that's persistent. You're not going to be able to deform the surfaces of planets, or at least that's they're planning, so you can't do that. You might be able to change the topsoil for farming, but you're not going to be able to like blow up bits of the ground. And I think that probably when it comes to mining nodes and things like that, they'll probably respawn every so often. However, planets and moons are so big, maybe they won't. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? No, they've got to respawn. It'd be cool if they didn't. Be an interesting mechanic. So you strip the universe out. I don't think there won't be like hard resets for stuff like that though. Hello there, my PC can run Star Citizen, but only have 8 gigs of RAM. Oh my god! Oh, that's. Do you think the new object container streaming will solve? I mean, it will help. 3.3, but 8 gigs of RAM is not appropriate for gaming. Minimum 12, minimum. But I wish you all the best and good luck. The i5 6400 4-core Intel CPU should be okay for the game. It's not great, but it's going to be okay. GPU much more important than CPU. I'll make a donation if you can tell me why the egg crossed the road. Because one second. Why did the egg cross the road? Why did the egg cross the road? Because fuck you, Robert Johnson. Is that why? How much bigger is Hurston gonna be? It's gonna be because fuck you to me, isn't it? That's what it's gonna be. I know your games. I know what's up, dog. Oh, Jason, what's up, dog? And I know your games. I know all these games. Bloody memes. I know about memes. Getting rid of memes soon. No more memes. No more fun. How much bigger is Hurston going to be in relation to moons like Yella and Daima? I think it's 4 times larger than the largest moon we have, I think. If you have an old PC and can't afford to upgrade it, your best bet is Shadow. I love the fact that people are actually using Shadow and actually making good use of it. My worry when I started supporting Shadow was that it was working great for me, but what if it was working really shit for everyone else? But it seems that I think I've got quite a lot of people referred using my referral code, and lots of people have given me feedback saying it's great for them. So that is good. That is good.
We love our new chair, Overlord.
Thank you, Anna. The new chair is so comfortable. It is so comfortable. It's unreal. But I'm glad people like Shadow. That's good. That's good. Long time backer here. For 3.3, do you think performance will be good for PvP or PvE? Because right now, the stuttering and low FPS make it intolerable. Also, the poor flight model do as well. It will be a lot better. It will be a lot better in 3.3. 99% sure it will be a lot better anyway. Has he mentioned anything about Squadron 42? Only that I'm hoping we see it at CitizenCon. We should. They haven't shown us updates for Squadron 42 for a while. Of the ships listed, not flyable, what is your go-to primary ship going to be? Single-seater, probably the Sabre. Just the Sabre, standard Sabre. But there's loads. Like, economy ships in general. So, Orion, I'll probably be doing a lot of work in. Reclaimer. Do you see CIG having any options if there's all of a sudden a drop in customer spending and the money dries up? I'm not sure how the money would dry up. Like, yeah, so they've almost certainly got a load of fucking money available to run the studio for a good few months. But if they money entirely started drying up, and they literally had $0 every month from like tomorrow onwards, they'd have to downscale a bit, and they'd have to push forward certain stuff early. As soon as they get Squadron 42 out, not an issue. They will make hundreds of millions, almost certainly, probably 100 million or so in that first year of it being sold. So I'm expecting. What do you think the largest carrier will be in game? Will there be a carrier with 10 plus ships? I don't know, to be honest. The Bengal is going to be pretty fucking huge. That's going to be carrying like a combat fleet in it. So, That has more than 10 ships in. Yes, the chat is really simple looking, but it is superb. It is £600, so like $800. $800. Congrats on the ultrasound and welcome to the Fatty Liver Club. Oh my god. What company designed RSA website again? Was it Turbulent? I think it's Turbulent that did all the stuff. They're Canadian. Long time backer here. For 3.3, do you think performance will be good? Yeah, we talked about that. That should be a lot better. When will you be able to buy ships in-game with in-game currency and keep them permanent? Well, you won't be able to keep them permanently until they actually go live with the game, or so a long time in the future. To actually be able to purchase ships or rent ships in-game for the persistent universe and keep them from logging off and logging back on, probably 3.3 now. So October 10th. Looking at CitizenCon, unknowing of the future roadmap to be revealed, do you see Squadron 42 being a full campaign release or partial release? I don't know exactly what you mean by that, Badlands Nation, but Squadron 42 Episode 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be basically separate games. So Squadron 42 will have an ending, I believe, and it will feel like a fulfilling full game. It's not going to be like, aha, and now you need to get this part to see what happens at this cliffhanger. I hope it's not like that. But it should be full games. They're not like it's not like buying a Telltale game where it's individual chapters and it's literally a whole game split up into 5 chapters. It's going to be 3 full fleshed out games. That's what I believe anyway. And yes, hopefully we'll see the roadmap for that or some more roadmap stuff at CitizenCon. After so many hours playing Monster Hunter World, will you be producing any reviews or content? I almost bought it. Was put off by disconnects, so new Dragon Quest instead. Yeah, so I basically completed all the content there was for Monster Hunter pretty quick, and with the other BoredGamer guys. It was sort of like a game for me, although there's going to be mainly because we were trying to work out how to stream and stuff at the same time. So probably not, to be honest. I probably won't be creating any more content or any content for Monster Hunter. Maybe when there's some new releases for it, maybe. I really enjoyed Monster Hunter. There's just not much else to do at the moment. Really fucking good game. Really fucking good game. The multiplayer disconnects and everything on the first few days were pretty annoying. They're still a little bit glitchy when it comes to dropping you in a game when you're playing multiplayer with other people. That's pretty infuriating. You can call me Commander BoredGamer, that's fine. I'll allow it. When will the game get good? Probably not for a while. It's not a sit down and play game for a while. I mean, there's some amazing elements of the game even now, and it's amazing for creating content for, creating screenshots for, playing with the right group. So if you get the right group, then it can be good now. But if it's for a full sit down and play experience, you're looking at a couple of years probably. Will CIG allow us to use your head as a hologram projector? Thanks. I don't know. I do want my head scanned in game, but I wasn't planning on it to be a prop. Like, scan your head in game, and then you appear in an egg cup in the food. Thanks, CIG. The Mercury having the same cargo as the Connie 96 SCU, the same parts as the Connie Med, same turret, faster, smaller, and 5 med computers. Do you think the Connie and Freelancer are obsolete? No. So I think the Mercury is certainly going to be less combat orientated. It's going to be trying to get out of areas. So it's going to certainly have downsides to it, mainly that it is trying to avoid combat. The Connie is going to support large crews, I think, the Aquila anyway, and it's going to be more combat orientated. The Freelancer, it's going to be more focused for cargo and potentially have better forward firing weapons. Might be more efficient in certain ways as well. Do you think face over IP and the purpose-built webcam will actually make it into 3.3? I don't know about the purpose-built webcam. If I was Faceware, I would take data from 3.3 with other people using their webcams before building a product specifically to use tech that we're still developing, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I love you. It's going to be Robert Johnson. Seen money appear. Close enough. Yeah, because I told you to feck off. I love you, Robert. I love you. I love your New Zealand dollars. I want to roll around in them. I want to make a little bath of New Zealand dollars. And he's like, oh, thank you very much. You're fucking amazing. Look, everyone else should take note of Robert. He gives me loads of money, tells me to fuck off. Come on, guys. Just pay me money and tell me to go fuck myself. I think the streams are weird because I swear a lot in real life. I'm good with swear words. I think swearing's fine. I think it's part of the human language. And as long as you're not swearing out of, like, just randomly in public at people, try not to be offensive, just for the sake of it, then I think it's all good. But I think because I don't swear in my videos at all, because there's no need to swear, so I don't. I think it's people find it odd when I swear on stream. Will you collab with Obsidian Ant? Mate, I will collab with pretty much anyone that's not a bag of dicks. So yeah, Obsidian Ant's legendary. He's got a beautiful voice. I might melt. If your head is an egg, why is it upside down and why is it hairy on top? Oh, I What? What? I don't know. When do you think Evocati build is coming? As early as today, but probably next week. Next week, the 21st, won't it? Yeah, probably next week, next Friday. I like Obsidian Ant. I think his content's pretty solid. Because he was bored. Shit, that would have been a better. Why did he cross the work road? Oh. Hi, BoredGamer. Quick question: why, when you start playing and buy a starter ship, do they not tell you that the Mustang Aurora is completely useless? That is 2 different ships that you've applied together by not being able to get a crate inside. Because that's changing. You will be able to get mission crates inside them. The full functionality is not there yet. Trivia Boxer Dog. When's the Mustang rework? Is that with 3.3? Is that 3.4? Mustang and Aurora. Oh, I see. No, that could work. So you may be able to get boxes in the Mustang in 3.3, which will be October 10th. Hopefully. Yes, but yes, it's really annoying, isn't it? The actual boxes for cargo don't work properly yet, because they're individual items that you're supposed to interact with and put like diamonds and shit in, rather than an actual box you pick up. But the Mustang Alpha in 3.3 literally has a cargo bay which opens and closes. You can beep, put it in, beep. That's the sound of cargo bay. I just upgraded to an 8700 CPU. I still run a 1060 and thinking about upgrading. Would you suggest an upgrade, or should I be okay until later in production? You'll be okay until later in production. However, if you are looking to upgrade, wait until those 2080s come out, and then see if you can pick up a second-hand 1080. You might be able to get one really cheap on eBay. Just have a look. Keep your eyes open for it. I'm not going to CitizenCon this time. It's in America. I suffer from various illnesses, which make it difficult for me to travel. Yeah. So, America's odd. You need to get visas and shit, and that panics me the fuck. And no, we're not going to CitizenCon this year in America. I'm not. I will go to America at some point. I just don't know when. Do you believe in relocating Care Bears to a sanctuary moon like Ewoks, so we can just make an open and free game? I think that Star Citizen can support all types of player, whether they be defined as Care Bears or as trolls or whatever. It's just you need to get the balance there. People want to do different things. People are a bit naive with certain things as well, and some people want to have sort of like the risk or the feeling of risk, but without ever having to actually face the risk and stuff like that. I want people that buy security and that like hire security to protect them when they go mining. That sort of stuff. I want that to be a mechanic. It's important. Combat is important. Combat adds to risk reward. Combat and piracy and outlaw gameplay all adds to other people's gameplay. It's super important. We usually test for shadow, different bandwidth, and ping distance from server. What is the minimum viable internet? So, I mean, I know you can. I think you need at least 50 meg internet. But I need to do some tests. You might be able to run it over mobile internet in some cases and stuff like that. Do you think we will ever be able to craft ships? I'm hoping there is going to be some elements of manufacture in the game. I'd love to be able to craft ships or components, fuel, munitions, stuff like that. That'd be fucking cool. How does the AMD Ryzen Plus CPU compare to an Intel system? I looked it up, and there's no benchmark comparison between different systems. I don't know. I haven't used Ryzen's or the AMD stuff. I may do in the future. CPU is not super important compared to GPU at the moment for most games. Yeah, the Homer miniature I've got is amazing. I do have a migraine, unfortunately, though, so I'm not going to stay around for too long. Will they have a ship similar to the Raptor from Battlestar Galactica? Longer range scanner scout personal fleet shuttle. I mean, they've got the Terrapin. Yeah. Pegasus has 30 ships. Cool. I made a joke about being the unofficial spokesperson for CIG a long time ago, because that literally is a non sequitur. It makes no sense. Unofficial spokesperson literally makes no sense. Because you're a spokesperson, you have some sort of official capacity. I think someone used it against me in a video or an article or something, like, oh, yeah, or in a comment, like being really angry about it. And I was like, oh, that was a joke. That was a, okay, sort of thing. So, gotta be careful what I say. But fuck you. No, no. No, so when it comes to stuff like that, I want to be able to cover Star Citizen in the way I want to cover it. Like, I want to be able to hold them accountable and be angry about stuff when I'm angry about it. I want to be able to talk about stuff critically. I want to talk about stuff in a fan way. And if anyone tells me what to say, and I have to say it, or there's a threat of not getting money or something, that would be awful. That would change the way the channel would operate. I don't want that. People watch my channel because I'm one of, if not the best news source for Star Citizen, and the fact that I can be relatively neutral and I can research stuff outside of just the official channels. I can look at the Reddit, I can look at the forums, I can look at other news articles and sources, I can look at controversy and drama, I can look at the legal documents and lawsuits, and I can report on them from what I believe to be at least mainly fact-based, mainly reasonable sort of like balanced opinion. Other people might not see it like that. We're like, oh, you're the biggest shill. Well, I'm not a shill because I'm not getting any money. You could argue that I'm biased because I want Star Citizen to succeed. Yes, I do, but I want it to be good as well. And that does require calling them out on certain things and being, reasonable. But I've asked in the dev section on Spectrum, but only backers replied. Many people think cloud tech is for atmospheric clouds / Crusader, but it's only described as clouds in space. It's working towards both, though. So the cloud tech they are building is going to be for both, but they're working on clouds in space first, and then cloud tech. That cloud tech is also going to be used to make planets on Crusader, but they'll obviously edit and add to it for that. With 300 rework, most variants are getting additional cargo, seeing as the original concept gave the 350R to SCU. Do you think the rework giving the racer a little more cargo once more? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to rebalance that. I don't know, especially for a racer. Like, they might go, no, let's remove the cargo, let's make it more racy. Gas, I suppose it is a multi-role ship, even though it is a racer. It's not a true racer. It's a variant of a ship. I don't know. Gas Giant Tech used to be a separate item on the old roadmap. Do you have any insight on whether cloud tech includes atmospheric clouds? I know they're working on weather and wind and dynamic weather at the moment as well. I suspect that it's all part of the same process. Or at least some of that tech will be used for that. What is your personal opinion around PvP in game? It's not great at the moment. The weapon balance isn't there, the combat balance isn't there, flight model's not perfect. There's issues. Keep seeing complaints of people calling PvP griefing. Do you feel it's intended component or truly griefing? No, I don't think there's much griefing going on when it comes to people shooting each other in the verse. Like, that's people trying to be outlaws or fuck around. They're giving you interesting things. It's certainly not griefing at the moment, unless they're ramming you repeatedly at Grim Hex or Portal SR or something, or whatever, or like just preventing you from playing by repeatedly doing it, that sort of stuff. Like that's more griefy. However, come on, it's interesting things. Even if they're fucking around and like, I mean, it's something to do, isn't it? At the moment, I mean, yeah, obviously they're ramming you repeatedly and being absolute cockbags, and that's going to be upsetting. But not the end of the world though. There's going to be systems in place to handle griefing. There's going to be defense systems. I mean, there's a genuine worry about what players will do if they get very, very, very wealthy and have like near infinite ships and are bored. Like, will they just ram people constantly? But there needs to be systems in place to prevent that. What group size do you think will be the funnest to play in? Oh, well, at the moment, probably 50. Take over a server. But Star Citizen, it needs a balance of PvP, PvE, contracts, economy, people hiring people to protect them, that sort of stuff. People need to be less fragile, I suppose, emotionally. Stuff's going to happen. People are going to attack you. People are going to want to be to roleplay being a dick or taste your salty tears sometimes. People do that in Eve. I mean, so you need to be a bit robust and react, try and survive. Not be like, oh, why is he doing this? Well, he's doing it because that's how he's having fun. He's having fun killing other players or extorting other players or attacking ships that are undefended. And some people are going to play the mad pirate. Some people and that sort of stuff. I mean, there needs to be systems in place so that the totally random piracy of I'm just going to kill everything because lols, that needs to be decentralized. From that, it will cost you a load of money. It will cost you loads of money to try and do that. I mean, if you're not making any money and you're being the mad pirate, it's going to cost you loads of money. High risk, low reward, that sort of stuff. That's the way I feel, but we need to see it all come together. Right. If I had to play Star Citizen with just one ship, what would my choice be? Reclaimer, probably? No worries, Robert. Thank you very much. I love you. You're a legend. You do need Star Citizen on an SSD as well. Explanation, good answer, but that is not the answer of what I class as a Care Bear, or those desiring artificial mechanisms to restrain realism and opportunity, which is what you say you want to. Is that someone you're talking to someone else? Potentially, maybe me. I don't know. No, I think it just needs to cater for all. I mean, Care Bear is tried to be. It's sort of like a term derogatory for people. I do think people are a little bit overly fragile about certain things and a bit naive. I will do some videos on what I mean by that in the future, because I do think there needs to be a place for everyone. But I want risk and reward, and I want conflict, and I want friction between groups and areas. And I do want there to be some sectors and areas that are really fucking safe for people. Like the core UEE worlds should be pretty damn safe. People should be less griefy there, and they should be less outlaw and pirate there as well. Do you think a single person or a person in a wiki could operate the Mercury for most things? Yeah, I do. You have to make choices, though. I mean, there's effectively 5 stations on the Mercury, but only a maximum life support and beds for 3. So you would, even if you had a crew of 3, you'd still have to make decisions on what you're crewing. Do you think Star Citizen systems such as object container streaming have applications in other games or even offline single player games on PC? Yeah, they are similar tech is used in other games. Will Star Citizen contain red shell like software? I don't know what red shell. Spyware. No, I don't think it will contain spyware. I hope it fucking doesn't. I'll get my mate. I'll get DC to look through it all. He'll break down everything and have a look at it at some point. Fellow works fantastic. Does your coupon code work each month? I don't know. You could probably try and just maybe give it a go. I don't really know. I appreciate people's love. Thank you very much. I've looked everywhere for information around what ideas they have for Org versus Org Wars and PvP. Have you heard any viable information regarding its mechanics? No, I haven't. Vishion. Also, I'm worried about Org sizes. Like, they just seem to have allowed, at the moment, unlimited Org sizes. Whereas in EVE, it's massively restricted. It should be restricted, because otherwise you have these odd Orgs that will try and do huge PvP, and you won't be able to stop them. So there needs to be ways around that, like potentially taxing the org and stuff like that. So they need to look at stuff like that, and they haven't yet. You love my work, cockbags. I hope no one takes offence by it. Actually, no, I don't care if you do. Offence is yours to take. Can we get the community or CIG to think of a short slang word for the UEC, which is a bit of a mouthful to say after a few drinks? I'll have a think, Mr. Bubbles. UEC. Ugh. You can go with the ugh. That's easy to say when you've had a few drinks. Ugh. How do you pronounce that? UEC? I suppose I would be called a Care Bear. I'm not into constantly being attacked while just doing my thing, but I'm not looking for artificial barriers to do this. I don't like the term Care Bear, but yeah, some people don't want to participate in combat, and there will be areas in Star Citizen which will be very low risk. The UEE core worlds, for example, they should have high security there. They should be able to protect you from players coming into those systems, and that will react very quickly to detecting anything that is criminal. However, even in those systems, if you fall into a trap, literally someone's turned off all the comm arrays in an area, you walk into a back alley, which is completely out of sight of everything, and someone's there with a gun, you're like, ah, shit, I've fallen into some sort of trap. They might try and assassinate you or something.
Tricksy little
That'll be rare,
bastards.
I'm assuming. Coffee Hall, thank you very much for the sub. I love you. If given the option later in development, will you choose to play as a human or alien? Human. Almost always. I'd have to fall in love with the alien. I play as a human. Occasionally I play as a robot in games. I do the same in roleplay. If I go to any roleplay events, I'm almost always just a human. Will 3.3 solve the hitching in space combat when you get close to a ship? I believe it should, yes. Because it's going to be less resource intensive. It's going to load that area, and it's going to be, it should, I think. One of the things in 3.3 though is that until they get object container streaming server side in, because it's only client side in 3.3, the servers might be under more strain. So we'll have to wait and see, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But it should be a lot better. When will we see focus on game systems that feature PvP? If salvage equals piracy, Reclaimer was rushed to be featured in Squadron 42, but then salvage slipped from 3.2 to God knows when. What the fuck gives? They will prioritize things based on their current goals. They will change. Those gameplay systems might come in earlier. They might come in later. I would like to see salvage in 3.3. I know we're not getting it. But continued, Mr. Board. Other games had Red Shell installed as a means of data mining players. Oh, okay. No, I don't think they need to data mine their player base. Right, CIG need to make sure they keep their community sweet rather than, shit on them. So that should be okay. CIG suggestion. CIG should allow orgs to split their orgs into separate entities, which would make them an alliance of orgs, which is much how Eve does it. Yeah, okay, I see that, but we'll have to wait and see. They'll look at it at some point, and I saw lots of people will give their feedback, but we need to understand how the gameplay mechanics will work, I think, before we try and do all that stuff. Do I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 will be a serious competitor to Star Citizen? Isn't Beyond Good and Evil 2 single player? And no. Also, there's room in the world for multiple games, as we have proven by having more than one game in the world. With the massive planets coming, will there be key terrain features, mountains, rivers, lakes? Do you think we'll be naming these key terrain features, or will they? Yeah, I think that I think at some point you'll be able to roll down all the way from your movie glass in space all the way to ground and actually see terrain features. And I think that maybe they will be named. Maybe they'll be named by players as we go along. I love that. I'm hoping they'll be named. And if not, then if they're not already named, I hope you can name them. That's cool, yeah. What type of gameplay am I most looking forward to? I mean, what I'll be doing the most is economy-based stuff. So that'll be a mixture of mining, creating outposts, that sort of stuff, and manufacture if it's going to be a thing. But what I'm probably most looking forward to is actually boarding at the moment. Boarding and capturing ships just sounds cool. So on capital ships, oh. As a layperson, I can't understand why the flight model and combat are so difficult to sort out. Why can't they just copy the flight systems out of the old X-Wing games? So I think they are going to simplify the flight model, and they should nail it down by the end of this year properly. When Star Citizen 2 will release. Oh my god. Well, you're seeing Squadron 42 Episode 2 released around 2 years after Squadron 42 Episode 1. I hope I can cook space meth in the corner of the Endeavour. I hope you can as well, Melkor. Any other questions? We've got any other questions? See if there's anything else I want to talk about. I'm going to take some more painkillers and have a lie down. We've got the Mercury Q&A this week. So they talked about examples of data collection gameplay. So some sort of like legal data collection missions would be scanning certain locations for information like asteroid composition and density. You might receive a mission to find specific player-owned ships or their locations. You might have illegal data collection missions, which would be sort of like more intercepting sensitive information between two ships, or beating another player to delivery on an existing data run mission, something like that. So there's some cool stuff about the Mercury FAQ. You'll be able to data hack even if you don't have a dedicated e-war suite, things like that. They're going to be in calling all devs. They talked about Earth. They are going to be doing Earth at some point. It's obviously got various biomes Earth, and they're waiting to have more of their planetary tech developed before tackling probably the most complicated UEE planet. Non-lethal weapons will be a thing, but they're not entirely sure exactly what. So tasers, tranquilizers maybe, but they're not specifically planned. Ground-based navigation will be a thing. They can do it in lots of different ways. So we might be able to have maybe glass tools and gadgets or compasses and things. But they haven't entirely decided. There will be some form of internal and external ship customization. External ship customization, you'll be able to paint ships, at least in basic senses, changing the colors and that sort of stuff. Internally, some ships might have the option of changing out certain modular furniture and furniture sets and stuff like that, but the internal painting of a ship is a lot more complicated, so they might not have that. So, for example, the Phoenix might be able to have a piano or a dining table and chairs or whatever. Do we have anything else? Monthly report came out. There's some cool stuff in the monthly report. 3.3 now looks to have potentially a ship rental store for the persistent universe, which would allow you to obtain ships in-game in 3.3 in the persistent universe by renting them. We're not sure how that will work, though. They just talked about it in the monthly report. Trade Slayer and Price Fixer, the economy tools, seem to have been merged together, and they are using them to make a dynamic economy, which basically it will work out how much items and ships and weapons and ammo and all that sort of stuff is worth based on the value of commodities and how much it costs to make them, which is one of the reasons I hope we do have manufacturing in-game. What else? Anything else super exciting in the monthly report? Oh, we've started looking at Microtech, which is the frosty, domed planet, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah. What star systems do you think we'll have when the game goes live? I think we'll have probably when the game goes live, like a full release after beta, probably like 30 to 40 systems is my hope. I think for beta we'll have 3 to 10 systems, well, more likely 3 to 5. Are Star Marine and Marine Commander strike teams on the roadmap yet? They're not something that will be on the roadmap, but they're planning to have Star Marine and Arena Commander strike teams, dedicated teams to work on those by the end of the year. Can Star Citizen ever live up to your expectations? I mean, yeah. My expectations are that some elements of it are going to be great, and some elements are going to be less than great, and they'll improve them until a release, and then some elements of the game I will play more because I enjoy them more, and some I will enjoy less. The game's not going to be perfect, but the game is probably going to be one of the great games of our time. That's what I'm hoping. I don't think it's too crazy to think that either. I mean, there's a lot of love that's gone into this game and a lot of work and thought and technology and millions of dollars. So hopefully it should be great. And it can live up to my expectations, but my expectations are reasonable. The project is certainly living up to their expectations. It's taking a long time, though. Taking longer than I expected. A lot longer. Many years more. Have they let on at all how the jump point mechanic might work at all? They've talked about it before. They said it might require some navigation and movement. New ones might require mapping, but we don't really 100% know. Can you please petition RSI to bring back bug smashes? We'll probably look at doing influencing CIG at some point, but I think they're going to look at doing bug smashes after CitizenCon, potentially. I'm getting into this game with a friend. Would it be the best starter pack option? What would be the best starter pack option for a ship to have fun with a friend? So you're looking to get a multi-crew ship, probably a Cutlass, something like a Cutlass, or you could both just get your own. To start with, I would both just get your own Mustang Alphas, because in 3.3 you may well be able to rent out a multi-crew ship, and then you can actually decide. But beyond that, a Cutlass maybe. Thank you for making my morning tolerable. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Any updates on female character models? They're planned for 3.4. They have their own mocap. They're not just scaled down male models or skeletons, which is cool. Yeah, 3.4 is when we will be able to make female characters in game for our avatar, and there will be a lot more female avatars, NPCs walking around. Yes, I really want to see the road to release on the keynote speech as well. How do you feel about new concepts that post-date early concepts coming out before certain ship manufacturers? I don't really care that much. I want the game to be there. I don't mind when ships come out, as long as they come out at some point. So, I mean, it's obviously going to be a bit different if people have bought the not Retaliator, Redeemer. Yeah, because you're like, well, when's this ship coming out? It's been waiting for ages, and well, they're going to rework it is the issue. So yeah, some of the ships are taking ages, like the Starliner. But it's to do with priorities, which they need to keep on changing. When it comes to ships, yeah, some ships get fast tracked. Just how it is. I want gameplay mechanics. I want the full game out, I don't really mind when ships come out before that. If you could have one thing that's been bugging you fixed today, what would it be? A proper flight model? Once they get that flight model locked down, people will be able to play the game regularly, even if it's just to improve their skill for the final game. People will jump in to play for a good few hours once a week, just to get better, knowing that flight model's locked down. Hurston isn't in love with Levski, seeing how Levski has never worked properly. Oh, the fucking lag ski and the broken elevators. But yeah, Star Citizen is starting to deliver now, and it's been a beautiful project to follow. And there's definitely been mistakes, and there's definitely been delays. Oh god, yeah, but it's getting there. It's getting there. How limited will ship rentals be in 3.3 PU? Don't know. Have no idea. It's just something that was mentioned in the monthly report. But yeah, any other questions? And then I'll see who else is streaming at the moment. Hopefully someone good, you know. Levski was incredibly laggy as well. Super lag. Broken elevators.
Dodging bullets.
Occasionally it wouldn't make routes
beautiful.
to landing bay. Thank you very much. Oh. Love21. If CitizenCon is not what I expect, goosnumps and all. Goosenumps. I'm going to rage. Goosenumps and all. What's a goosenump, precious? What? I hope it is. I hope it's exactly what you swift raged it to be. It is Lagski. Definitely Lagski. We will go and give Crucian some love because I want to rub his face. But yes, love you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Very much appreciated. I'm going to take some painkillers and have a little lie down. Not a question, but thanks for what you do in the community. Why have you got a question on it then? Thanks, Hijinks. I gave myself a worse headache. Thank you very much for the love. I do appreciate it. Thank you for all the donations and the YouTube sponsorship stuff, which is like YouTube's version of subscribing on Twitch, but you can do it for videos and use that and get bonuses just for video comments as well as streams. So thank you for all of those. Thank you for all my Patreons. Thank you for all the fucking love I've received. Like, you guys are amazing. Like, I've got the best community ever. And I only get trolled very lightly, which is impressive. Normally on stream. Do you have a regular job outside of this, or is BoredGamer now your job? BoredGamer is now my job. I used to be carer for my brother as well, which is why I started doing YouTube stuff. But now I do the YouTubes, and I'm planning on expanding. I'm planning on potentially getting hiring my mate Zin to stream with me regularly, make content with me regularly, and that will be lots of Star Citizen stuff as well, but also lots of streamy stuff. I'll start doing some more streamy stuff because I got the infrastructure now and I know what I'm doing, sort of. And I love Star Citizen. I think Star Citizen is going to be pretty fucking big. And my channel it does reasonable now. Just think when we actually got a player base in the game, eh? Mwah. But thank you, I love you. Your Patreons, good. Thank you, Citizen Brain. I love you. What's your ETA for EVO, PTU? Oh, Evocati, PTU, and PTU. So we could get Evocati as early as today. More likely to be next Friday. And then if we are going to get a PTU phase, first wave PTU at least for CitizenCon, I would expect it at the very end of September. That's my expectation. Certainly not a confirmation. But thank you guys, very much appreciated. Thanks for watching all my videos and supporting the streams and everything, and the videos and channels. If people want to participate in any Quake Champions or Unreal, they are both free to play, I believe. We'll talk about that in the Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. But yeah, take care, guys. Your faces. Let's go give some Crucian some love. And thank you, Robert, for always giving me like 50 to 100 New Zealand dollars that I can bathe in. You're a legend. Mwah. Some of you guys are just amazing. Like, the support is insane. So appreciated. I was going to say something else, actually. No, I've lost it. Yeah. I'm fine. I just need some water and some painkillers and to have a lie down. I've been like manic today, and I had too much caffeine because I learnt that caffeine was good for my fatty liver, and I need to like lose half a stone or a stone or something, which is good because I was planning to lose 2 stone. So I'll lose a stone first. But yeah, I got told caffeine was really good for me, for what type of weight I need to lose. But I've done too much of it, as you can see. Ah! Love you guys. We're gonna go say hello to Crucian. Give him some love. You take care. Kisses. And tell him that he's got a beautiful beard face. I don't know. Caffeine in his life. Caffeine. Love, love. Love, love. Oh shit, I should have checked to make sure there's no other BoredGamer streamers streaming, shouldn't I? Wait, what if G's streaming? Fuck. Let me just check. See if G's streaming. Oh no. Oh no, what if G is streaming? I'm gonna have to quickly... No, he's not. That's fucking good. I fucking check, mate. Give him some love. Give Crucian some love. Not G. Fuck you, G. Boom.